Hi all, and welcome to Diary.io. And today we'll be working on project 11, where we are supposed to configure Ansible on our Jenkins instance. Or more so, or so to say, we are supposed to automate everything we've done between project 7 to project 10. And so let me just quickly get there. So going to 11. So, but before we continue, we at least need to understand what Ansible is. I would describe Ansible as an automation engine that helps us automate tasks that are either, let me say, cumbersome or repetitive, or maybe complex, like let's say software deployment or cloud provisioning. So let's just say in short, Ansible just makes work easier for DevOps, for the DevOps department. Let's look at a situation where we have to provision like 15 or 20 instances, and on each instance, we have to install some services. And let's say, for example, install Apache web server on each instance. So we're looking at 20. So it is kind of repetitive, and also, I would say, a bit monotonous to log into each instance, install and configure Apache, exit, take another instance, and on like that till we get to the 20th instance. So instead of doing this, Ansible can just help us sort this out in just one click after we have made the necessary, we wrote the necessary commands and made the necessary arrangements on our playbook and the necessary settings, the necessary configuration, and then we can push. We just a click, everything will be provisioned in minutes, so to say, because it depends on the amount of task we are trying to achieve. So let's dive straight into the instructions. So here it said we have been implementing some interesting projects up till now, which is awesome. And like we said, in project 7 to 10, we had to do a lot of manual operations, set up virtual servers, install, configure, require software, and deploy web applications. Then this project is supposed to take us deeper into DevOps. And here we get to appreciate the DevOps tools by making most of our routine tasks automated with Ansible Configuration Management. At the same time, you will become confident at writing code using declarative language such as YAML. Yes, so YAML is the main language we use in Ansible to manage configuration. So we'll be doing a lot of writing codes in YAML in this particular project. So then we have Ansible client as a jump server. So let's look at a situation where we have different servers, and then we have our Ansible server. And so normally, in most cases, the Ansible server is supposed to be like the entry point into the network, so to say, where we have a cluster of servers. So when Ansible faces the public and the other servers are private. So if a client needs anything, they would have to go through the this Ansible server, but in this case, we call it a bastion host or a jump server, which here is described as an intermediary through which access to internal network can be provided. So now, one of the advantages is that one, it's better for security, and also it reduces attack surface. So that if there is going to be any form of attack, it is just going to be one instead of all. And it's possible, or it is with the right configuration on the server, it is possible to mitigate attacks because we are supposed to set up alerts to tell us so that we would know when anything is wrong. So it's easier to just quickly mitigate, because from there we will know this is how far the attack has gone, and we can easily quell it. So let's look at this diagram. So in this diagram, we have a situation where we have a client computer, then we have the internet. So we can see that the client computer can only connect to the bastion host through SSH, and the web servers 1 and 2 are not accessible. If you see them, they are in a virtual private network. So it is not accessible to the internet. And here, this just simply demonstrates what we've been trying to talk about how the jump server or the bastion host is the front-facing server that, let's say, shields the other servers in the network. So then what are our tasks? The first task is to install and configure Ansible clients to act as a jump server or a bastion host. Then we create a simple Ansible playbook to automate servers configuration. So instead of going to each server to configure them, we just do it on our jump server, and the jump server just handles the rest. Ours is just to relax and watch it play out. So the first instruction is to update the name tag on Jenkins EC2 instance to Jenkins Ansible. In our previous projects, we've been using Jenkins to let me say to deploy, right? Or Jenkins has we set up Jenkins as we set up Jenkins through GitHub to help us with hold on. Jenkins helped us with our continuous deployment. So when we make changes in our repo, when we commit, there is what's it called? Our webhook triggers the change, and which in turn is sent to Jenkins, and then Jenkins would automatically update the necessary files, and so our changes will be effected without disrupting the flow of events in our entire setup. So now let us label the Jenkins server as Jenkins Ansible, because that is where we would configure Ansible. So let's go to our terminal. Let's see here. Okay. So now I need to. This is the terminal. Let me label Jenkins Ansible. Okay. Let me see what's going on. Jenkins, okay, okay, it's just a label, either dash or underscore. It's either would work. So we'll go to connect. Then since we're connected through SSH, we'll grab the link and we'll come here, paste, then and enter. So let's look at the next thing we're supposed to do. So in your GitHub account, create a new repo and name it Ansible Config Management. Okay, I think I have a repo labeled Ansible Config Management already, so I'll just do Ansible Config. So let me create the repo here. New repo, Ansible Config. We want to make it public? Yes. We are in a README file. Yes. So create a repository. So that is done. We've created our repository. What is the next thing? We install Ansible sudo. So we do a sudo apt update there, sudo apt install Ansible on our server. So we come here, sudo apt updates. Then sudo apt install Ansible. Yes. While that is updating, next thing we'll do is after that, we need to check the Ansible, just to make sure our Ansible is running. Let's check the Ansible version. So Ansible version. Okay, so we can see we have version 2.96 running on this particular server. And we also have Python, Ansible Python module. Okay, so Ansible uses Python. So we have Python version 3.85 also running. So next thing is we have to configure a Jenkins build job to save our repository content every time we make a change. This will solidify our knowledge of Jenkins configuration skills acquired in Project 9. So we create a new freestyle project called Ansible in Jenkins and point it to our Ansible Config Management repository. And remember that for us, on my own repository, it is Ansible config. Then configure webhook in GitHub and set webhook to trigger Ansible build. Configure a post job to save all files like we did in Project 9. Okay, so let's see. If you remember in Project 9, it was we used the tooling website as our for Jenkins. Okay, so here, next thing we'll do is, okay, so what we want to do now is to configure the setup like just said. So create a new freestyle project. So I'll come here, click new. So we are to name it what? Create a new freestyle project, Ansible in Jenkins. So Ansible freestyle. Okay. So we'll come to source code management. Then we need to grab the URL for the repo. So we'll come here, click, then we'll click on this, copy. Okay, come back here, we'll paste. And then let's come to here, build triggers. We use GitHub hook trigger. So let us configure our this thing first. Webhook, which triggers build automatically. So webhook. We add webhook. So Jenkins URL and the post receive. So add it, we have it here. Should be that is correct. Then our application is content type is JSON. Then make sure. So just for push events, we go. Okay, I think I made a mistake. Oh, made a mistake. To the GitHub webhook. Right. Okay. All right. Let's see. So what? Let's continue here. GitHub push trigger. Build. Well, the next action is post build action. We need to archive our artifacts. So for that, we'll just use this. And we save. Okay, so let me test. Build now. So we have a failure. Let's see what's going on. Couldn't find any. Okay. Okay. Multi projects. Configure. Name. Should it. So let's try now. Okay, good. So we know that GitHub now uses main instead of master. That was after the whole Black Lives Matter movement. And next thing we want to do now is try to just trigger a change. So just so we are sure that everything is working automatically. Okay. So here's what I will do. Let me just effect the change here. Edit. So let's see if any job was triggered. You can see it's already building. And yes, successful. Okay, so our build was successful. And the next thing we'll do is to, let's check. Yeah, so let me do into our terminal. Let me do Sudo ls. Okay, so the latest one is 3, so which is the build number. So 3/archive. So, and if do a cat readme, .md. Oh, yeah, I am trying to open cat from my present working directory. So let me just cd here. cd. So now I can do cat readme. So we can see the change we made is here. So let us continue. Sorry about it. I was supposed to clear my screen. So yeah. All right. So since this thing has been triggered, the change has been triggered, and we can see this is the proper, this is how everything is supposed to look. your webhook will trigger the change on the Ansible Jenkins server. And in the previous setup, it comes straight to the NFS server. Then the NFS server supplies the web server 1 and the web server 2. We have a tip here. Every time you stop and start Ansible Jenkins server, we have to reconfigure GitHub. Yes, because we know that on AWS, anytime you stop, the IP address changes. So you should always bear this in mind. And you need to stop your instances to so you will not incur unnecessary charges. So most of the time, you just set up your instance, do whatever it is you need to do, and you stop. Then that's the only bottleneck is that you would always have to update your host with new IP addresses. And yes, there is Elastic IP address, which is free. Just one is free. So if you want to get more than one, you pay for it. And Elastic IP address is for every time in Elastic IP address, for every time you stop, you still maintain your IP address. So let's say it's just a static IP address for your instance. So the next thing we have to do is to prepare our development environment using Visual Studio Code. So the thing about working on the server without having a separate window where we can test things in real time means that there is a lot of back and forth. Say in this case, I had to in the case of to check our build. To check our build, I had to I had to go to the particular folder and just start checking and all that. It is very tedious and cumbersome. And in VS Code, I can easily just click on the file and then I can see it while I'm still working on the terminal. And so here we provided a link to download VS Code, and I already have VS Code downloaded on my own system. So let's see the next step. So our next step says we are to begin our Ansible development. So what's the first thing we'll do? Okay, sorry. I need to mention that we have to install a web development pack. So sorry, is it web development pack on VS Code? This will help us helps with SSH and okay. Visual Studio Code. After your assessment, configure it to your. So let's see. Open tab. Sorry. This is. I think I'm low on memory. Okay. That's just a broken link. Okay, so I have it. Come here. See. Okay. So yeah, so we are supposed to install a remote development pack. Yeah, so here. So it's remote development. So I already installed it, so that's why I have disabled here. So normally what you're supposed to have here is installed if you have not installed it, and that's about it. So it installs all the packs for you, which also it helps to SSH and also open folders on the remote server. Okay. So in Ansible config management GitHub repository, create a new branch that will be used for development of a new feature. Give a branch descriptive and comprehensive names. For example, if you use Jira or Trello as a project management tool, okay. So here just says we should label our branches accordingly. Okay, so here, let me come here. And I think the first thing I need to do is to I'm going to clone my repository. So let me clone from GitHub. So this is the new one, Ansible config, like I mentioned. I have a folder I saved into. Save. So let me open. Yes, I trust the authors. Okay. So what's let me see. So in our GitHub repo, we have to create a new branch. So okay. I'll come here. So let me can move this up. So let's confirm our branch. Create branch. So you can see we're on main. Okay. Okay. So let's first run git status. So here we have our main branch, and it says our branch is up to date with the with origin main. So we are supposed to create a new branch called, okay, we are supposed to give it a descriptive name. So for now, I'll just name this project 11 something. So I have git checkout -v, which means create a new branch project. Let me say prj11, then enter. So now we are working on the new branch. So now we are supposed to start building our directory structure. The first thing is we create the directory and name it playbooks. It should be used to store our playbook files. So we have in VS Code, there are two ways of doing it. We can do it on the terminal, or we can just come here. Here we have a file, and here we have a folder. So either we do make dir playbook. Is it playbook or playbooks? Playbooks. You see, we have the playbook here. Then the next thing is create a directory and name it inventory. So let's, like I said, a new directory here, inventory. Oh, my bad. Rename. Just okay. So we're supposed to click out inventory. Okay. So what's the next thing? Within the playbooks folder, create your first playbook and name it command.yaml. So here, in playbooks, we create a file, command.yaml. What else? Then within the inventory folder, create an inventory file for each environment: development, staging, testing, and production. So development, staging, UAT, user acceptance testing, and prod for production. So let me just cd into inventory. cd into inventory. Then touch, we have dev.yaml. Is it testing or tests? Okay, staging UAT prod. Staging.yaml, UAT.yaml, and production.yaml. So if we check here, they are all created. So next thing is we have to set up an Ansible inventory. An Ansible inventory file defines the host and groups of hosts upon which commands, modules, tasks in a playbook operate. So basically, our inventory is just a collection of the servers we are going to be using for the automation, so to say, or let's say for the deployment of for deployment of our commands. So we have decided we should save the below inventory structure in inventory /dev. Okay. To start configuring our development servers, ensure to replace the IP addresses according to your own setup. Ansible uses TCP port 22 by default, which means it needs SSH into target servers from Jenkins Ansible hosts. For this, you need to copy your private key to your server. Do not forget to change permissions to your private key. Otherwise, EC2 will not accept the key. Now you need to import your key into SSH agents. So we should, first thing is to notice, to know that normally when you spin up your instances, if you're using a new key file, you have to change the permission. But if you are using the same key file, you already changed the permission, so there is no need to do that. So, but the first thing we have to do now is to do is to add our key to SSH agents. So the first thing is eval SSH agents. So I'll do that. Let me do that from here. Then agent PID itself. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is to add my private key. So SSH -out. Okay. I need to do this from. I need to do this. From the. Okay, let me exit first. Okay. Let me say SSH. DevOps. Hold on. SSH. Then SSH. So let me log back in. Connection to your authentication agent. Okay. Sorry, since we already had our SSH agent, we shouldn't be logging in with the identity file anymore. So here's what we're supposed to do. To do an SSH. Remember, we did this was what we did. After we did the eval SSH agent, then the next thing is we added our PEM key. So now what we should do is, after adding our PEM key, the next thing should be SSH -a. Then our instance is Ubuntu at, let me come here. is our instance, the public IP address. We grab the public IP address and paste. So we are in. Then the next thing we should do is let's persist the key on the server. Minus, well, let's see. Okay, so it's there. So what this means now is that all other instances will be creating on our AWS would through with the same PEM key would be able to our Ansible server will be able to access those instances as long as they are using this key pair. This key pair I created here, which is DevOps. As long as they are using it, then it will be able to access them. So let's go on. So what we will do now is I would create these servers. I will just quickly spin them up. So I have NFS, 2 web servers, and 1 DB server. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 Rel 8 servers and 1 Ubuntu server. 1 more Ubuntu server. So let me come here. Let me launch. It's here only. So Rel 8, that's Red Hat. So we said 4 of them. Right. So next. 4. Add storage. Configure security group. For security group, I have my default where I have most ports accessible, but we should not forget that ports are supposed to be configured based on how they are necessary, just for security reasons. So your ports should not be open, but since your ports should not be open, but since we are in a test environment, we will just run it that way. Then I'm using DevOps. Yes, I have the key. Launch instances. Okay, so view instances. Okay. Okay, so they're all coming up. Let me scroll down a bit. So let's see. So remember, we want to name them accordingly. We have our NFS, our DB, and 2 web servers. So let's say NFS. DB. Web server 1. Name the last one, web server 2. So then we need one more instance for our load balancer, which is Ubuntu. So, I'm sure. Okay. I did not save it. Okay, so then launch DevOps. Yes, I have it. Okay, so I'll label the last one. Load balancer. Now, let's see. Okay, so we are supposed to add this IP at we're supposed to have this kind of structure in our dev.yaml file. So, but before we do that, let's quickly be sure that Jenkins would, Ansible would have access to these servers. So I'll just test at random. Let me grab the private key and see. So let me do Ubuntu. SSH. Yep, so it can. Okay, permission denied, public key. Let's see what happened. Okay. So my spelling is wrong. Ubuntu added an extra in Ubuntu. Voila. So see, it's changed. Okay. So let's try well, it's instance like NFS. So I need to click out. Check NFS. Copy. So this is EC2 user. SSH EC2 dash user address. Yes. We are also in. So we can exit. All right, so we are good. So what we want to do now is we start working in our dev.yaml folder. So we'll create dev.yaml. So let me start with NFS. Then web service and DB. Then LB. Okay, so now NFS IP address. Okay, or I've just done it this way, sorry. Just copy and replace them. That's easy. Okay. So let's start with our NFS. What is the private IP address? Copy and paste. The web service. So web server 1. Private IP. Then go to web server 2 and then copy the private IP. Then the database, do the same. And lastly, the load balancer. Do the same, copy. So now, the reason we have Ansible SSH user is that we need to tell Ansible what user is what user would access what host. And you know how we can always configure different users on different servers. So Ansible, we need to specify to Ansible that to connect. So to connect this Red 8 server, you have to use EC2 user. And here it says you have to use EC2 Ubuntu. And that's about it. So let's go to the next task. So we have a playbook now that is. So we have an inventory file now with select our list of hosts. So we need to give Ansible some instructions now. So in our common.yaml file, we will write configuration. We will write configuration for repeatable, reusable, and multi-machine tasks that is common to systems within the infrastructure. So yeah, okay, let me copy this, then we'll go over them. This is the task we are going to be given. We are going to be giving Ansible to perform. So let's look at them. So to start every YAML file, we start them with 3 dashes. Then the structure is you have the name, which is basically a description of what you want to do. Then the hosts. So, we group the host into 2. We have the hosts are grouped by the kind of server they are. For us, we have our web servers, our NFS, and our database are all Red Hat servers. So we just have our load balancer that is Ubuntu. So your structure might be different. You might have two Ubuntu and two NFS and DB servers or something like that. But whatever the case is, you just put them in the right places. So let's assume here our DB is Ubuntu. We just come here and just do a comma. You just come, you can do a comma and do DB. Then you delete it from here. So that's about it. So remote user says, okay, so how are you accessing it? So you should be accessing it as EC2 user, like we specified here. Then become is sudo. So become user, it's sudo root. So it's going to need root access to perform some of the tasks we want to give to it. So the first task is we want it to install Wireshark and ensure it's the latest version. And the package manager for Red Hat is Yum. And so that's why we have Yum here as the package manager. And we are saying Yum install the latest Wireshark application. And then since they are different servers, so that's why we have grouped them into two. So this is a second task, which goes to our load balancer server. And remember, it is the only Ubuntu server we have. And yes, become a sudo user and access it as a root user. You perform the following task. You also install Wireshark on the servers. Okay, on the load balancer server in this case. So feel free to update this playbook with the following task. So, okay, when we are done with this, then we can add more items to our playbook. Okay, so we are to update Git with our latest code. Okay, so what we will do now is to commit our codes so that to go into our repository, and then we'll be able to get it from our server. So that's the server is going to push it to Jenkins will push our code to our server. So we have commit your code into GitHub. Use Git commands to add, commit, and push to your branch. Then after that, we create a pull request. Okay. Then we check out into master and pull down the latest changes. All right. Remember, we are working on, you can see it here. We're working on project 11 branch. We are not on our main branch. Okay, so now let's see what's up. So Git status. So we have files in playbook and inventory. Let me see. Okay, let's set all. Let me see. Okay. So there are two ways to commit. The first is you can do that here. You can do I've done a git status. Git status will still show us the files that are yet to be committed to, are yet to be sent over to GitHub. Or you can also come here and you will see all the files we have worked on, and we can just commit here too. So let me just, okay, let's do it from here. Git add full stop, which means you add all the files that are all our untracked files that needs to be committed. So that's done. Then it's commit -n, that's the message. I say updated. Okay. Say commit messages are not supposed to be vague. They are supposed to be precise, so that whoever is reading through your repo would know, oh, okay, you made so changes to so thing, or to so files. But in this case, I'll just say made some changes. Okay. So you can see I still have this. So let me save. I don't know why. From the look of things, it's not tracking. Oh, okay. Not. Okay. Okay, so we can now push git push origin name. Sorry, origin PRJ 11. So we push to the branch we are working on. So our remote branch. Okay, so see, it's already told us to create a pull request by visiting our repo. But let me see. So what's the next thing we have to do? So let's go create our pull requests. Okay, so we already have it there. So compare and pull. Just leave it like this, then I'll create my pull request. And if everything is okay, we merge the pull request and confirm merge. And that's about it. So let's come to code. We can see already that the files we created are, yes, they are there already. So Ansible config. Let's check our inventory files. Do the YAML. We have them. Okay. So the next thing is let's check Jenkins. Should have triggered a job. So last was 3, so we should be on 4 now. Last was 3, so let's see. Okay. That's all of that due to inactivity. Oh, so it's already here. So you can see 4. Was so I can also view from here. Everything is in order. So now let's move on to the next instruction. So once your code changes appear in master branch, Jenkins will do its job and save all the files to this directory. So what do we do now? Let's verify. Remember, we're on build number 4 here. So let's check our server. Sudo ls. So 4. Okay. So our files are there already. So just to be sure, let me cd into the directory. Cd say inventory. So that's dev.yaml. Everything is okay. So now we are supposed to check out from the from our feature branch to our master branch, or here in our case, our main branch. So we do a git checkout main. So it's already told us that we are behind by 3 commits. So let's just do a git status to see. Oh, sorry. CD. Okay, git status. Yeah, so, and you should always, the first thing you should always do when you are on, when you're working on Git is to do a Git status, because you don't want any sort of conflict. So then I will do a Git pull now, Git pull, that's all. And we have, so what it's going to do now is it's going to update what we have in our project branch into our master branch. And that's about it. So we move on to our next task. Sorry about that. Okay, so we are supposed to run our first Ansible test. Now, to run this Ansible test, we would, we've been working locally. So now let's move on to our server. And remember the other time we installed our development pack, like from here. like I mentioned the other time, so we just like I showed you the other time, the remote development pack. You install it. So after installation, you would always have something like this here. So which signifies opening remote window. So that's what we want to do now. So open a remote window. Then what we want to do, we want to connect to a host. So we want to connect this host. We're working on this host. This is the one we want to connect to. So come here to our Jenkins Ansible. We'll grab the public ID, or you can do connect just to be sure you can see. So since we've already added our key to SSH, so all we have to do now is do Ubuntu at the private key. So SSH. So Ubuntu. That's this. You can see here it's open remote. It's the same thing here. Could not establish connection. Okay. Try. -3. Okay, so now it seems we have a problem. We just close remote and let's see. Let's check our configuration file. And normally since we are using the DevOps PMQ file in my own case to connect, and I have it as a user and not in the root file. I have it in my downloads folder. So let me check it here. Oh, so it's empty. So what I'll do is I already have the configuration saved up somewhere. So I'll just copy and paste it. So I have it here. So this is the host is just the name of my instance, can be anything you want to. Host name is the IP address, the public IP address, or you can use the public DNS too. And username is Ubuntu. And identity file is, here's where we would find our identity file. Control path is a temporary folder where Ansible can store configuration. So we try out Sudo since my autosave is on. So password. Okay. So we can try again. Click here. So connect current window to hosts. So now we have the option Jenkins Ansible. It's connecting, so let's fingers crossed for the best. Okay, it's open, and you can see here that it's connected. So I'll push this up to have access to my terminal. Okay. So, but Okay. So next thing is to can open a folder. Say this is basically just like you're opening your home directory on your server. All right, so we're still working on the terminal. Let's see what's the next instruction. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So here we are to run our playbook, our first Ansible test. So I'll copy this and replace this build number by the build number we want to run the playbook against. And if you remember in Ansible works in Ansible Jenkins, okay, in activity, then what's time out. So if you remember, it was we're on build number 4. So build number 4 contains the latest changes. Yeah, so it's build 4. So that's what we'll be using. So let us get that rolling. So come to VS Code, just paste, then I'll edit. Four. So we are running our dev.yaml file against our common file. So if you remember, dev.yaml is where our hosts are located, and common.yaml is where we have the tasks we are given Ansible to perform. Okay, so wait and see. What's going on? This looks frozen. Okay, got disconnected. All right. Should have typed yes. Well, I can't. So now Ansible is checking the hosts. So it takes a while, so just have to be patient and then see how it goes. Okay, I think I'll pause the video, and when it's done, we'll continue. Okay, so I had to restart the server and then run the job again. So I used the same command, Ansible playbook, then the link to the dev file and the link to the playbook, the command.yaml file. And so it seems everything went on well until this point. I have there's an error. So we'll head back to we would head back to our remote repository now to look at the LB server again. Something is definitely wrong with the configuration. So let's see. All right. Okay. So the command.yaml, we can see from here that we can see from here that the hosts are okay. So the problem is with the configuration. Let's see. All right. Updates of 2 web servers, 1 NFS and 1 DB. Okay. So 2 user hours. Oh, yes. There's a comma here, which shouldn't have been. What else? Okay. I think it looks okay now. So let me do git status. Let's add. Comment. Close the brackets. So our Jenkins job should have been triggered by now, and it should be job 5 at the moment. But let's just confirm. Jenkins. Let's confirm. Time out. Okay, build 5. So back to VS Code. Then we'll run it again, but this time with 5 instead of 4. So change my build to 5 here. Command the YAML and get the YAML 5.2. This one could still be 4 since we did not make any changes to it. So let's see. Still the same mistake. Change false package. New package matching Wireshark available. Yum. Let's see. Check. Yeah. Also, just noticed one thing. We're supposed to have 4 AC2 4 Red Hat instances, but there are 3 here showing the 3 Red Hat hosts. So I think we also need to have a look. Yeah, you can see web server 1 and DB are the same. So that is my mistake. Let me check. Web server. Web server 1, 2, 3, 1, second one, DB. So big mistake. Okay, so this is why you always have to, cross check and make sure that you are doing the right thing. So let me say status with add dev with commit Yama. So this is supposed to trigger another job. So we're on 6 now. So let's just confirm. So waiting to finish. So we're on 6 now. And here to we'll update. So 6. And Let's see. Okay, another 6. All right. So that for now. Thread. Let's go a bit. Okay. So you say just installed Wireshark on the DB. That's why it's showing changed. So if you've subsequently installed the same things, you just get okay, because there's nothing to change. So we're waiting for the LP server. Also taking long. So let me pause the video a bit and get back once it's done. Oh, welcome back, guys. So I figured out what the problem is. It took me a while and I couldn't continue recording so as not to take so much time. So I will just quickly show you what it was. The first thing was that I did not leave a space here. Normally at the end of every file, there should be a space. That is just how it is. I would need to look into why that is important. But that was the major thing. And I put this line here as a divider just to tell my playbook that there are two separate tasks that needs to be completed. And after that, you can see that everything ran smoothly. So this is the Ubuntu server, which was finally updated. So here now I have Wireshark also installed on it. So now what we would do next is to, and you can see like I had, tried so many changes that I'm on build number 10 now. So what we will do now is to log into a couple of the servers, either 2 or 3, just to confirm that everything is as we intended. So let me quickly grab the private IP addresses and check. Okay, so first what I want to check is, let's say web server 2, which is a Red Hat instance. SH, and don't forget for Red Hat is EC2 user. EC2 dash user at the IP address. Okay, so we have to run the command either which Wireshark or Wireshark version. So Wireshark version. So we can see here that on version 2.6.2. Okay, so let's check. Let's check the Ubuntu instance. That is the database. Copy the private IP address. No, we are not using public key because they are using the same private keys. So they are within the same subnet, so to say, so they can easily access each other through the shared key file. This is SSH. This is a Ubuntu instance. IP address. Can't put this right now, so we'll just use the public key file. Public key file. I will use the public IP address. Sure. Okay. Sorry, my bad. I checked the wrong instance. LB, so DB is a true user. It's a true user. Check the load balancer now. Just return to SSH. Alright, so yeah. Which Wireshark is that /bin Wireshark. So Wireshark version. So for Ubuntu, it's 3.2.3. For Red Hat, our real 8 instance was what was it? 2.6.2. So let's see what's the next one. Now instructions is to, okay. And check each of the cells. Okay, we've done that. So this is what our architecture will look like. From our laptop, we write the codes, we commit sent to GitHub. The change is triggered from GitHub playbook to Jenkins Ansible server, and Ansible would carry out the playbook instructions to all the servers we have deployed. So optional step here, we are to update our playbook with some new Ansible tasks and go through the full checkout, change codes, commit, PR, merge, build, Ansible playbook. Okay, let's quickly do that. So checkout, change codes. So the first thing I'll do is go to the terminal. We're on the main branch, so check out to the project branch. You can see main in the brackets box. If you want to be sure, you can just do git branch and shows us the branches we have. Okay. I think I need to kill the terminal. I don't know why. Okay. So next, let's check out to the PR. Check out the branch. Hash 11. Start it. Okay. Check out 11. Okay. So check out change codes, commit. So like I said earlier, I copied some here. So here's what I'll do. I'll just raise. Okay, command it. Let's give server another. Sorry, the playbook another task. So here's what I'll do. Just copy this. Paste it. Okay. So I want this task is to create a directory on each server, create a file, and then set time zone on all servers. So our host will be our web servers, NFS, DB, and LB servers. And yeah, become yes. What are the tasks? The first task is to create a directory to a path. The path is home sample, and the state is directory. Okay, I think my screen is frozen. Let's go to it. Let's go to it. Okay. Okay. As I was saying, okay, so this is the first task is to create a directory. And the syntax for the YAML syntax is it's different, and it's also kind of simple. For normally, if you want to create, let's say we want to create a directory, now we say make dir, then the directory name, the sample. But in YAML, we'll just tell it, so this is where you are going to make the directory, and this is where you're going to perform the task, and this is a type of task you are performing. So here it is states. So now the next task is to create a file, and we are telling it that to create it this path, and we want it to be and for when we are making the command for creating this particular file is touch. And we also want to set time zone. For example, we can set it to Africa, Lagos, or we can set it to, say, GMT/London, or any other time zone that we feel like. So now we've made our adjustments. So what's the next thing we are supposed to do? We've changed the code, so we commit now, then raise a pull request and merge. So let me commit, just make a commit from this side. Say included more tasks. Then click here, submit a commit message. Then you come and you do a push. No upstream branch. Oh. All right, so let's check. And then we can merge. Okay, so we already have a pull request. A pull request, and a minute to go, just to be sure. So let's see. So compare and pull requests. Not automatically, don't worry, you can still create pull requests. Okay, I think I was supposed to do, let me see. Okay, this branch has conflicts, must be resolved. Okay, let me resolve the conflicts. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Great. What updates? Let's push origin. Okay, so pending pull requests. Process. No problem. Okay. Mm, new pull request meant to PRJ. Okay. Let me even be sure I add a space here just to avoid what happened. Yeah, you see, should have added space. Okay, so yeah, we're supposed to push, I think what caused this conflict is that I did not, when I was making the adjustments, I did not check out to my main branch. I did not check out to the PRJ11 branch. I was making the adjustments straight on my main branch. And that is why I have this conflict right now. So, real pull request. What happened there? I would have to There is another pull request. Okay, so the first mistake is that I did not pull before pushing. So this thing can be tricky sometimes. That's why I have a conflict. So now if I include the changes again, everything will work out well. So this, like I said earlier, always pull when you check out a new, when you're checking into a branch you were working on before, so that you won't have conflicts. Just copy this again, copy, and paste, space, and added multi-tasks. Then push. So, good for the presentation. New to project 11. Okay, so create my pull request now. Merge. And then I will have to check out and pull checkout main and do a git checkout main. So git pull. So if we look now, so Ansible server, we should have more. Sorry. Let me see. Okay, so that's our 12th build. So we can run run the playbook again. So let me just copy the, okay, here. Okay, so copy again. Remember we're on 12. So copy, let me just Test. Build number is 12. 12. Run. Oh, sorry. To exit. So you can see like everything is running, has run smoothly. And if we check now, if we randomly check the servers, we should have the folders and the files there, and we should also be able to confirm the dates. So let me just quickly check one or two of them. Should be able to check from here. Let's check the NFS server as EC2 user. So SSH EC2 user at private IP address. Let's check the present working directory. Okay, so I want to change the directory to home. Sorry. So else, you can see we have our sample folder there. Inside our sample folder, we're supposed to have our text, our sample text file too. So let's do ls sample. We have our ansible.txt file. So playbook. Now this is the file we're creating, ansible.txt. So time. What time or date? Okay, yeah, date. So we can see it's West African time. So that's the current time. Let's see. That's 1:52. Okay. Current. 1:52. All right. Sure. Let's exit. Then let's check another server. Let's check the load balancer. See. So SSH is load balancer is referring to paste. Okay, so this we can already see the time. Okay, last login, sorry. Dates. This is it. Then let's say our present working directory, pwd, home Ubuntu. So cd home ls. We're supposed to have sample.txt. So we have our sample.txt, ls sample. Ls sample. Is a sample, sorry, set sample. Inside sample, we have ansible.txt. So we say, and this is the beauty of Ansible as a configuration management tool. we can deploy, we can automate, we can set up, we can spin up instances, do so many things, run scripts and all that from Ansible. So, and that's the end of the lesson. Sorry, the project. So for the configuration file, you would find it in the comment section. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask and we'll get back to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next project.